Hi, Legal Advisors here, bringing you some important, hard-hitting news. Stand by for sex dolls. To get to this important part of the story, we've got to go back in history about 18 months. We've got to go back to the pandemic times. South Korean football club fined $81,300 or 100 million Korean won after filling the stands with sex dolls. Yes, this really happened. This is a true story. The South Korean football team FC Seoul has said it has been handed a 100 million Korean won fine after being accused of placing sex dolls in its stands to add to the atmosphere during a closed match. Back in the COVID times, sporting events continued to take place in Korea. That's how the Western world became aware of the existence of Korean baseball. There was no baseball being shown in America, so they opted to broadcast the Korean Baseball League games, where the games were going on, but there were no fans allowed in the stadiums. And to make it look like there was more, and this happened with all the other sports as well: basketball, volleyball, soccer, or football, or foosball, depending where you're from. We'll just call it soccer because, hey, I'm American. The soccer teams, the basketball, all the other teams, they would put up cardboard cutouts of people, fans. They would put them in the stands where the camera is focused on most of the time, just for, giggles, to make it look like there's people there, but just to have a little bit of fun with it. They would put jerseys on chairs, put cardboard cutouts, but the FC Seoul club decided to take a little bit further, and they placed some sex dolls in the stands to add to the atmosphere during a closed match. Sporting events around the globe have been halted because of coronavirus, but South Korea's K-League is one competition that is pushing ahead with matches without spectators. But FC Seoul sparked controversy on Sunday. Again, this is Sunday in May of 2021. During his home match against Gwangju in South Korea's top football championship, with the club being accused of using sex dolls to fill its stands. The club apologized, and the K-League has handed down a 100 million Korean won fine over the incident, according to a spokesman for the team. FC Seoul told CNN on Thursday that it would humbly accept the decision. The K-League did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Fans criticized the club online and said it had blown the chance to show off. Poor choice of words. It had blown the chance to show off the K-League to an international audience. FC Seoul messed up the league. FC Seoul messed it up, making the league look salacious, wrote one. It's really ugly and dirty. There you go. There's the crowds that were put in the stands at the game. So how did this happen? It's still funny 18 months later. However, others said the whole incident had been blown out of proportion. Those who don't even watch football normally are turning this into a thing, wrote another fan. Honestly, people who don't really care about this junk think they're just mannequins and don't pay any attention. Well, if you look up here, some of these pictures, I don't know if we can, how much bigger we can, no, this is one of these deals that if we make it bigger, it actually makes it smaller. Let's see if we can embiggen this picture here. No, I guess that's as big as we can get it. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me full screen this just for the full effect. Yeah, there's some large pointy assets here that may clue you off to the fact that this is not just a normal department store mannequin. Those are some very, there must be a nice stiff breeze in mannequin land. Let's just put it that way. You can go away, big advertisement. Let's bring this back in again and get on with the story. That's while fan opinion is divided as to whether the club did anything wrong, the prevailing opinion seems to be that the management handled things poorly. The Dolls were in the stands for FC Seoul's second game of the delayed K-League season at the weekend, surprising those who tuned in to watch the game. Some of the figures were holding signs for a company that makes sex dolls. Well, that comes into play later here. And fans pointed out that they looked like adult dolls rather than mannequins. Responding to criticism, the club issued an apology on Instagram and Facebook on Sunday regarding the cheer mannequins that were installed during the game on the 17th. We sincerely apologize for causing deep concerns to the fans, the statement said. FC Seoul explained that although the dolls were made to look like real people rather than conventional mannequins, that's one way of putting it, anatomically correct in all respects, it had checked that they were not at all related to adult products. No, they look like sex dolls. They look better and more realistic than mannequins. They have parts where most mannequins ought not have parts, but no, just not at all related to adult products before agreeing to install them, and had been told that they would be mannequins of the kind commonly used to model clothes. Staff went through the confirmation process that they were not adult products several times, said the statement. If you have to go through the process of making sure they're not sex dolls several times, you should have gone through it a few more. And didn't notice that an ad for adult products was visible on the day of the game. You mean the mannequin that was holding the sign advertising the sex doll company that made them? You didn't notice that? Okay. This is our fault without excuse, said the club. Regardless of the reason, we apologize again for creating great concern to the fans who love and cheer for FC Seoul. The South Korea League is just one of a handful of football leagues currently playing matches. We don't need to read this. So why are we talking about this 18-month-old sex doll event that happened in Korea? Why? Because, well, here's the answer right here. I'm gonna bring this up in a different screen. Hold on. Boom, there we go. South Korea ends ban on imported sex dolls. This is yesterday's story, December 26th, 2022. Free the dolls. Free the dolls. Okay. South Korea ends its ban on imported sex dolls. Congratulations. Here, this lovely lady, she made an appearance at a government meeting to express her pleasure at being allowed into South Korea. South Korea lifts its ban on imported full-bodied sex dolls this week, bringing an end to a years-long debate about how much the government can toy with individuals' private lives. In a statement released, I love the New York Post. The New York Post, for as kind of crappy a news organization there, I love their headlines, I love their front pages, and I love the way they write their articles. I just think it's funny. All right. How much they can toy with individuals' private lives. In a statement released Monday, the Korea Customs Service said it would implement a revised policy on life-sized adult sex dolls. While there are no formal laws banning imported sex dolls, thousands of the items were previously seized by customs officers, citing a clause forbidding imported products. This is a thing. This is a legit thing. Forbidding imported products that harm the country's beautiful traditions and public morals. That's why there was no law specifically banning sex dolls, but the customs officials were unilaterally seizing sex dolls on the clause that allows them to forbid import of things that harm the country's beautiful traditions and public dignity and public morals. Importers subsequently took several cases to court where it was determined that the dolls are used in private spaces and thus do not undermine public dignity. So again, there you go. You've actually had to have some owners of sex dolls sue the customs agents, sue the customs service to get their sex dolls back from the customs people. That would be a fun thing to do. I just imagine you being up there in court demanding the return of your sex doll. The Korean Customs Service noted, however, that it would continue to ban the import of sex dolls that resemble children or specific individuals, citing similar policies in the United States, the UK, and Australia. Although this decision reflects South Korea's gradual easing of state restrictions on personal autonomy, it will likely face pushback from some women's groups and conservative organizations. Read churches. Lee Sang-in, the former head of an online adult outlet for sex doll importer Karen Share, like Karen Share Co., called the decision reasonable, but a bit late after the government allegedly wasted taxpayer funds fighting the importers' lawsuits in court. We fought. We thought our people's rights to seek happiness and use sex dolls in their private lives have been restricted by the state, he explained, stating that sex dolls made in South Korea are generally inferior to those manufactured abroad. He said it. I didn't. Don't come after me, Korean sex doll enthusiasts. But while customs officials say they will hang on to more than 1,000 sex dolls seized in South Korea since 2018, just imagine there's like a warehouse with like 1,000 sex dolls in. Oh, I guess it's here at the customs office. It's time to take a break. I'm gonna go out in the shed over there and smoke a cigarette. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Uh, they're going to keep 1,000 sex dolls seized since 2018. The government's decision will allow Karen Share and other companies to reclaim the imports seized by the government. According to Lee, his former company has already taken back over 20 dolls and has filed separate lawsuits seeking compensation for the models that became unusable after years in government storage. Such a happy ending. Koreans are now allowed to purchase sex dolls and have them imported from out of country. You know what to get your best friend, your spouse, your significant other, or your worst enemy for Christmas? An imported sex doll. That's a legitimate story. Yay. I'm out.